Let me tell you something. I will be rich again, and I will buy every child in this school a polar bear. That damn Renata, she at it again. Laura Dern is acting her ass off. She really makes me not like Renata. Like, if I knew a Renata, I would probably go upside her head at this point. So what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Miss Sophia the Diva. I'm back here again for another review, my viewpoint on this week's episode of Big Little Lies on HBO. If you are not watching it, you need to get into it, okay? This episode is part of season 2, episode 3, The End of the World. And all the little babies think it's the end of the world because for some reason, at Otter Bay Elementary School, the teacher and principal of the curriculum has turned to talking about climate change. Here's my thing. When I was in the 2nd grade, let me tell you what I experienced. We're studying about the man landing on the moon and all this stuff and the space shuttle and the first teacher in space. And y'all know what happened. Challenger blew up to smithereens. And we watched that on TV. Talk about being traumatized and decide, well, hell, being an astronaut is no longer on my what I want to be when I grow up. But I know it's scary because you think about all the things that could happen. But before we get all into that, I'm going to tell y'all right now, if Renata don't get some money and get through this bankruptcy, honey, it's going to be the end of the world for everybody because she's going to blow up everybody in Monterey Bay. We open up and Madeline, as you know, we left off last week. Ed overheard her daughter, her older daughter, saying that, so I'm not the one who slept with the theater director. And Ed was like, what? She was like, oh, you misheard. He was like, you know what? I'm going to leave the house and go get my hearing checked. When he came back, he was like, I'm done. I'm over. But it would appear that he is open to going to counseling. And baby, let me tell you, this therapist, I like her. She is on point. She basically was like, well, Ed, adultery. So she committed adultery. So basically, either you not engaged or you're indifferent. Maybe that's why she cheated on you. And then she hit Madeline with, you said something about your daughter not going to college. You know, is that, did you go to college? And Madeline was like, what? So if you didn't go to college, does that mean you feel like you nothing? Like you ain't nobody? Is that what it is? I was like, God damn, see, that's the kind of therapist in your face. Well, counselor, because I'm in school for counseling. I don't know if I could go through a psychology program, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm glad that Ed was open to going to counseling, even though albeit it was crazy because she was going in on everybody because that's Celeste's therapist. I didn't realize that because I had to go back and watch it a second time. I was like, oh, that's Celeste's therapist. I didn't realize that. You know, basically she told Madeline, you probably feel like you're nothing. And we had a discussion about that tonight on my radio show. We were talking about how college, you know, people need to learn trades too. College is not for everyone. And it doesn't define who you're going to be and who you're going to become. Some college might be good. And I'm not advocating against the education system, but I'm just thinking about to save yourself some debt and tears and living in a one-bedroom apartment with $250,000 in student loan debt. You know, save yourself some money and learn a trade. And you know, make it, you can go to school later because you've made so much money doing your trade, you can become whatever you want to be. I don't per se encourage joining the military, but I know a lot of people that have become successes financially from being in the military. You spend 20 years, you retire. Heaven forbid something should happen to you, but you can get some disability checks and tax-free and all that. So I'm just saying. But anyways, I digress. We see Bonnie. Now, they showed Bonnie and her mother together where her mother was trying to teach her how to swim and how to hold her breath underwater in case something bad happens and they need to learn how to swim. And we see Bonnie decide to just go off into the water and damn near drown. I was glad later on we saw that she was still alive. I was like, is this stuff drowning herself? I mean, I know the guilt is bad because in the flashbacks, you know, if you recall, it was Bonnie that pushed Perry off the stairs. So she feels real guilty. We do see a really cute moment with her mother and her daughter singing a song and reading a book that was very precious. But again, Bonnie still has a backstory that we still need to explore in Big Little Lies, because this particular season goes beyond the book. Madeline and Celeste are besties and they're having a conversation, and that's when we learn some more about Madeline's backstory. When the therapist asked her during the session what was her parents' relationship back, she was like, it was good. They were married for 40 years. Is that right? Well, we learned that when she was about 3 or 4 years old, she walked in and saw her dad having sex with another woman, not her mother, and he kind of tried to, shuffle it under the rug and make her keep a secret, which thus may explain why Madeline realizes that marriage is not all it's cracked up to be. It's not. Most relationships aren't, People post on Instagram and social media all the time about how wonderful their marriages are, and the shit could be falling apart right before your eyes. That's why I kind of, every now and then you'll see me post a picture of me and my bae or whatever, but if that shit don't work out, I don't need to be telling y'all the whole backstory about why the hell it failed and how we were so in love one day and then the next that shit fell apart. But either way, I digress. Mary Louise, y'all know Mary Louise is Celeste's mother-in-law, played by none other than Meryl Streep, and she come up with the shits for Jane. As you know, Jane's son, Ziggy, is actually a product of rape done by her son, Perry, one night when he was out on a business trip. And Mary Louise learned of this last week and is now going about doing her own Inspector Gadget investigations. And she's so, has no, couth whatsoever. She's just, by the way, would you mind submitting to a DNA test? Are you sure that my son is, maybe you got your wires crossed, Perry was so nice and good. I'm just like, how do you show this girl's job and tell her all this? And she does this several times throughout the episode, okay? Not to mention running to the police department and demanding answers. And the lady, you can tell that the detective is getting a little irritated with her because she's like, I told you we would contact you if you had answers. And, if we found something out, we would definitely share that information with you. And I love how Jane kind of just takes it all in stride and is like, no, I'm not going to submit my child to a DNA test. At some point, Mary Louise approaches her about, since she's the grandmother, she wants to spend time with Ziggy. I was like, Jane, don't fall for it, because she's just trying to get a hair sample. That's what she's trying to do. That's the shit she on. And she also tries to paint how Perry was good and all this stuff. He was such a good little boy. And that's when Jane told her point blank period, well, he didn't grow up to be one. And like I said, he's a sociopath. So of course he made you think that he was good and sweet and nice. Because he was fucking crazy, and he knew. For some reason, it's amazing how they can turn the crazy on and off in front of their parents or whomever it is that they don't want to displease. Apparently, as crazy as you are, you did something to him in his childhood that fucked him up in the head. We turn to a classroom scene with the other prime African-American that's featured on this show. I don't know his name. I don't even know the teacher's name. Mr. So-and-so. They talking about climate change, and they trying to use Charlotte Webb as, I don't know, anyway, he can tell the story right. And the kids were like, that's not what Charlotte said. But Ziggy and Chloe are wise beyond their years. Ziggy talking about, there are some adults that lie to protect us. I was like, oh, Jesus. And then Chloe said that, the whole Charlotte Webb thing was a branding scheme. I was like, okay, go ahead, girl. Next thing we know, everybody's sitting in the closet. Thunk. Who the hell is in the damn closet? None other than, what's her name? Amabella, Renata's daughter. Oh, shit. They got to call paramedics, take this child. She done fell out in the damn closet. Because, first of all, how did you not know she was in there? But I guess maybe they allow the children to do that. She's in the closet. She falls out. Renata comes in. She's screaming on everyone. And she blaming the teacher. And the doctor's trying to explain to her, she had an anxiety attack. And I was like, yeah, because of her mother's irrational behavior. And she's going in. She's like, I want my daughter transferred to Stanford. Gordon shows up. She's talking shit to get away from her. This is my daughter. This is your fault. You created this. And the doctor was like, well, there is counseling available, not just for her, but the husband. What do you know about my family? And he was trying to talk to her. She said, I know you have a woman, and you can get to the counseling. I was like, Renata, how can you are a grown-ass woman? How do you act like a freaking child? You keep on acting crazy. You in a facility already. They can just put you up there on the 8th floor and let you get it popping for 72 hours, okay? Or have DFACS call, because clearly you are not in your right mind. Gordon seems to be the only rational parent. You, my dear, you are a fool, okay? She was doing too much. Little Bo Peep comes to visit, though, at the house, so they at least do pursue that. And the child psychologist, I thought that was great. I've never seen that done before, but I'm sure there are child psychologists out there that do that, where they dress up as characters so they can relate to the children. Because as later on we see, Madeline points out the fact that we feed our children lies and fairy tales and Santa Claus and happy endings. And so that kind of works for some children at a certain age. And apparently Amabella had a great time with her. But she gave up enough information for her to tell them that your child is suffering from anxiety about climate change and the end of the world. And of course, she's worried about her parents, and Renata, she's really worried about you. And there's a point in here, and I can't remember when Renata confronts him, and Gordon says, something's been going on with you before this even happened. And he was like, when I first met you, you had your guard up and I chipped away at it. You let it down. Now it's back up. And she tells him to sell his toys. He was like, your stuff that you're projecting onto Amabella, you're not making it any better for her. And so basically Renata needs to get her shit together, because otherwise her daughter's going to fucking spaz out and become a basket case and end up on lithium before age 9. Basically, that's what's going to happen. Celeste is in the therapist's chair. Oh, I love this therapist. I want to be her when I grow up. She basically told Celeste, because Celeste is like, I don't want to get rid of all the memories of Perry. Perry was beating your ass, okay? I personally understand how, you can miss something, because he wasn't always bad to you. But to me, it seemed like in season 1, it was more bad than good. She said, but Perry gave me joy. And I was like, he also gave you a black eye and bruising a lot. Not to mention, he sexually assaulted you regularly during the marriage. I don't care if you are married. You still have consent. You are not his property. You still have consent over your body. But this is a prime example, people, in the teachable moment here for Diva to tell you. It's called normal. Dysfunction has been normalized. Became normal. And I like that the therapist pointed out that, I deal a lot with vets, and what you're suffering from is a form of PTSD. You missed the war. And I remember Wasson Shire said it best, loving you was like a war I never came back from. And I'm going to tell y'all something. That is one of the worst feelings in the world, to love someone, and it's a battle every day just to survive the relationship. It is. Celeste needs to get some help, and she needs to separate herself. First of all, Mary Louise's ass needs to get out of there. First of all, she needs to go. The kids are watching a video with their grandma, and they were talking about how their dad made the best monster. And I was like, if only you knew what a real monster he was. He was a real monster to your mother. She lived in pure hell. He's Satan's spawn. Jane is having awkward dates. Adventures of Awkward Jane. With the guy from the aquarium. I think they'd be good together. Two quirky people together, because he's talking about it at the dinner table, talking about that salmon. Is it farm raised or is it wild caught? And he said even then there's a problem with that, because you find mercury. I want to say, hell, if you saw that study from England, you might find cocaine in your fish. You just never know. And antidepressants too. But she doesn't want to kiss him. She's still over, still traumatized. Another thing is, she said that Perry was the only guy she had been with. I think last season she said something about she was a virgin at the time that Perry violated her. She had to tell Mary Louise, he's the only man I've been with, so of course I know who my child's father is. And then she was trying to normalize it with, maybe he put a date rape drug in your stuff and that's what happened and you just don't remember quite clearly. Mary Louise, kick rocks. And even if, as Mary Louise tried to insinuate, well, what if you initiated? Even if Jane did initiate the contact, she didn't ask to be raped. She asked to be like, let me get to know you. Let's spend some time. Spending time does not mean you get me in a hotel room and violate me. That's not what that is. Mary Louise, oh Lord, she disturbs my peace. Ed finally has taken Nathan up on his offer to take Bonnie out to find out what's troubling Bonnie. Oh my God, there was a moment when Zoe Kravitz looked up and I was like, oh my God, Denise Huxtable. You look just like Lisa Bonet, your mama, right then and there. But she walks up and she's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And he was like, oh, we're just talking. And so she was like, oh, so you just out with Bonnie now? And he was like, yeah, I figured it'd be a 2-for-1 deal. I said, Ed is pissed off. She was like, you're not mean, Ed, you're just being mean. I was like, Mr. Nice Guy. Ed is he's one of those where they become broken. They've been nice the whole time. Ladies, I don't know what some of y'all do to some of these men out here, but I really wish whatever it is y'all would stop. Like, Madeline, you know you got a good man, girl. Keep it. If you got problems, let him know. Look, you ain't hitting the G-spot right. Something. Ed told her he was going to get a 2-for-1 deal. That way he could piss off both her and Nathan. I said, God damn. What? And then she was like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, well, whatever I was before, it wasn't enough for you. Oh, Ed, I really like nice Ed, but I kind of like this shade of Ed. He's a whole ass. But sometimes that's what happens. And sometimes, ladies, you ruin it for the next woman who comes along and tries to love a man. It just, they damaged and we have to pick up the pieces. It's really, really tragic. Renata confronts the principal and the teacher, and that's when she tells them the infamous line of, I won't be broke once I survive this bankruptcy. I can buy a polar bear for every child in this school. Don't you tell me about this and that. How dare you? And then that's when the principal, Nepal, was like, you know, we're going to have an assembly because you're not the only parent that's, you know, has questions about our new curriculum. He said, but you are the loudest one. Oh, and she was like, you the one that's sitting up there who's always smoking and ain't had sex in 15 years. I'm like, Renata, how would you know if the man ain't had sex in 15 years? Anyway, when she leaves, that's when he's like, you know, I told you that all the second grade moms are so Shakespearean. Come on, I do smoke. And you want one of these? And the other dude was like, yeah, I want one too. He's like, I got a place where we can go smoke and the kids won't see us. At this assembly, I don't think Madeline should have been able to talk. Before the assembly, though, Renata does go and freak out and spaz out to Madeline, and she said, he told me I could go to hell. You down to this woman's job, okay? Meanwhile, creepy ass Mary Louise is in there. She's like, oh, Mary Louise. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, did you find something yet? She was like, I just went and looked at some places. Her and Renata have an interesting interaction. And Renata was like, she is so weird. I was like, just keep walking, girl. Just ignore Mary Louise. You know, she was like, you met me. I met you at the funeral. And Mary Louise tried to play like she didn't know what was going on. She might not really know what's going on. She's just a weird woman. She's strange. She disturbs me. This assembly. The parents don't understand the climate change and why it's important to talk about it. I'm like, apparently we should have been talking about it during our generation because now the planet is in danger, okay? But Madeline gets up and has a total meltdown about things not working out because she's talking about her own life. It's just like, girl, somebody take the mic from her, Jesus. This is not good. Lord help. Ed's standing in the background like, when is she going to be done with this? I mean, Ed is just simply out of fucks to give. He don't give a fuck about what Madeline got going on. Her daughter to this day still feels guilty about it. She's so sorry. It's just like, that's what happens when you keep secrets. That sometimes they're not always secret because someone 9 times out of 10 always knows. Whatever it's done in the dark eventually comes to light. The good thing about all of this is that Madeline and her daughter, her older daughter, seem to be forming a new relationship because her daughter and her seem to be doing better. But before leaving the school, Celeste and Renata catch Ed out there, and they're like, hey, maybe you should have supported your wife. And he's like, what? He was like, I forgot what he said, but he said something smart, and they were like, oh my God, do you think he knows about? And they were like, no. I was like, literally, you know, he does know about her fucking. Well, Celeste knows, but Renata don't know, and Renata don't ever need to know. Celeste is a true blue friend. Because, you know, Madeline and her had another moment during this episode where they were talking, and Celeste was like, I didn't even know anything. I'm not even sure about my friends anymore because I didn't even know you were going through the hell you were going through. And she was like, it's just not something I wanted to tell. And I know you would have been there for me had you known. She was like, yeah, because I would have pulled you out of there. But Madeline, you messed up, girl. I hope you can save your marriage with Ed because, you know, he got a good paycheck coming in and y'all have a really nice house and he keeps you and your children comfortable. You know, that oldest one ain't even his, but he look out for her too. Celeste comes home from this assembly as we close out this episode, and guess who's in her medicine cabinet? And she's talking about, oh, I'm just going through your stuff because I've been having a hard time sleeping. I think I should get some of that. But I love Celeste and how she handles Mary Louise, because Mary Louise is, once again, I believe I said in the previous video when doing this episode, is that basically Mary Louise does not want to believe that her son is a bad person. What parent really does want to believe their child is a bad person? But Perry was not a nice person. And so she was like, yeah, I took opioids sometime from like when your son would kick me. She hightailed it about that bathroom so fast, I think I saw smoke coming out from under Mary Louise's skirt. Baby. But anyways, that's the episode. Mary Louise, what a peculiar and quirky character she is. But anyways, we see in the previews coming up that someone has been in Celeste's house and she trusted her. I hope it's not Jane, and I hope it's not that it turns out Ziggy ain't the child. I don't know who it could be that she said she trusted, but either way, I'm so here for Big Little Lies on HBO. And real quick, I'm going to take a moment to tell y'all right now, if you are not watching the other show that comes on Sunday nights, Euphoria with Zendaya, you are missing out. Baby, if you got teenagers, y'all need to watch this because I'm like, oh, Lord, are the children doing all this? You got one character on there that's transgendered girl. You know, she's a boy transitioning to a female or a teenage boy. When we see the first episode, taking shots, and then we learn that she likes to get on these websites and meet up with strange dudes in hotels. I don't understand that behavior for the life of me because it's like there's a secret shame or something, but at the same time, you also putting your life at risk. There's a guy on there named Nate. Turns out that his daddy is into having sex with she-males regularly, and he, you know, don't like it, but it's almost like that American Beauty type. I don't know how to describe it. It's really weird. Zendaya's on drugs. She done OD'd and spent her summer in rehab. How she ended up on drugs is because her daddy was dying from cancer, and she started taking some of his pills when she was like 12. Her sister was the one to have found her. Another girl, I think her name is Kat. She ends up having sex for the first time, and unbeknownst to her, it's filmed. Thankfully, her face wasn't seen, but people kind of figured it was her. Next thing you know, she finds her video on Pornhub, and she figured, honey, I can make some money off of this. So she starts writing porn fiction and I think making more videos and stuff. I'm like, what? Rue is Zendaya's character. She said she had no intention of staying sober, and as soon as she get out, she started doing drugs, baby. I said, as if an OD wasn't enough. Girl, do you hate your life that much? Nate got mad at his girlfriend for having sex with the dude in the pool. She lied and said she blacked out because she was so drunk, but she knew what she was doing. She was trying to make him jealous. Little does she know, he is a psychopath. His ass, when it found the dude and beat the dog shit out the dude with a bat, showered in his house, put on his clothes, left and picked her up for a date, and even bought her some sexy lingerie. That is in a nutshell what Euphoria is. Watch what your children are doing. They're on drugs and they're out here going to meet up in seated hotels with random men and putting naked pictures out there. Because one little girl boyfriend, black boy, a black athlete that came home from college came to see her, and he want her to give her sexy pictures. I was like, Lord, it's going to end up in a cloud, and it's going to end up for everybody to see. Probably sharing it with his college buddies on the team right now. But either way, that's all I've got. I just want to plug Euphoria, and I'm not going to do complete, but I figure at the end of Big Little Lies, we can kind of talk about Euphoria. Comment down below, let me know what you think about Euphoria as well as Big Little Lies. Again, if this is your first time here on this channel, I'm Miss Sophia the Diva. I'm trying to do these show reviews, get them in for you, tell you what I'm thinking, and what I see, especially as teachable moments. But that's all I've got for these episodes. HBO, great programming. Also, be sure to catch my radio show that comes out every Tuesday from 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. on BFAM 109.6 Eastern Daylight Time. I will drop that, of course, down in the description for you to be able to listen to that. We had a really great show this week with Chef Travis. We learned so much about cooking and his love of seafood. But either way, that's all I've got. Stay fabulous. I'm Miss Sophia the Diva.